Welcome to the Tour Coach Podcast. I'm Tony Ruggiero here, as I always am, your host, and you're joining in on what we are now having as the Tour Coach Minis. And those are little 10-minute conversations with myself or Jackson Koert, who's going to be hosting some of this. These will be 10-minute conversations and musings from around the world of golf, from around our travels, our friends, our players, other coaches, to give you more Tour Coach, more Dew Sweeper content during the week. We've got some exciting stuff coming up for each and every one of you. If you like what you hear on the podcast, you can always find more content as we're kind of spreading our wings, if you will, with Dew Sweepers TV on YouTube. And there's links to it in our description. Please support the Dew Sweepers and like our page there on YouTube. And to kick all of this off, we've got a great promotion running through Masters Sunday. And if you go onto our YouTube page and subscribe, and on any of the videos in the comments section, you just put hashtag Dew Sweeper TV. That's hashtag Dew Sweeper TV. Or you take a screenshot of this podcast, and on Instagram, you tag me at the Dew Sweeper and hashtag Dew Sweeper TV. We're going to sign you up for a drawing on Monday after the Masters for a set of Srixon irons, ZX 4, 5s, or 7s, 12 gloves of your size, and 12 dozen balls. We're going to do that drawing Monday after the Masters. You can check the links in the description part of this podcast, or for a link to it, go to YouTube TV, type in Dew Sweeper TV, and watch some of the videos, listen to it, put in hashtag Dew Sweeper TV, or hashtag Pro Work, or hashtag Tour Coach, and you will register for the drawing the Monday after the Masters. That's a set of Srixon irons, 12 dozen gloves your size, 12 dozen Srixon golf balls, all to make you play better. And just like the Dew Sweepers radio show or the Tour Coach podcast, the Tour Coach Minis are brought to you by our friends at Srixon Golf, our friends at Bushnell, Buick, GMC, especially Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive, and you can't forget Vineyard Vines that keep us all looking good. So enjoy this episode of the Tour Coach Mini. And we're here with all the golf content you could ever want each and every week.
Back with me for part 2, Wayne Flint. Wayne, thanks for joining me again for another little segment. In the first one, we had talked about your 7 things. So give us a quick rundown again of the 7 things that you kind of stick to as your program and your preferences.
Okay, Jackson, whenever I walk up to somebody new, first-time student, or whether it's a student that's been with me for a couple of years, I always look at these 7 things and kind of I base my lesson off of where I'm going to go based on what's happening or not happening in these seven things that I believe are important. And the 7 things are the 3 things that happen with the club. The shaft of the club should swing on an inclined plane, swing up and down the plane. I like the lead hand, the left wrist. For the right-handed golfer, I like it to be on the club correctly, to where when it hinges, it can be flat and the club face can be generally in line with the back of the left hand in a square position to the plane. And then I like the club head weight, the mass of the club head, I like it to be dragging or lagging against the trigger finger of the trail hand. And I like it to stay in a lagging condition till after the ball has been struck. So in order to achieve good lag like that, I believe there has to be a pivot on both sides of the ball. That's the 4th thing. And then I like a steady head with rhythm and balance in the golf swing. So those are my 7 things, and kind of what I look at the beginning of every lesson. So whether it's a long-time student, I'm checking those up. They're usually in pretty good shape if they've been with me for a while, but I don't ever quit looking at them. And the first-time student, I look and I kind of determine based on those 7 things what's wrong, and I tailor the golf lesson toward those things and try to start to explain it to my student and get them understanding what their future program is going to look like and how they're going to take that information and practice it correctly to keep pushing their program forward and into a better place.
That's beautiful. And one of the things that I really appreciate being around you and Tony, obviously when I started with you guys, I was very green and didn't have a program and a system like that. And to create revenue and grow my business, I was very much a people pleaser. And I think as I've grown a bigger base and also grown in my understanding and had a consistent message, similar to your 7 things, the coaching aspect outside of, instructing them on those 7 things or your system is critical to get people to stick to that. And so it's a skill to be learned to not give an F, right? And to be able to directly tell someone and not sugarcoat the answer to somebody, because they may need strong coaching in some form or aspect. So that's a compliment to you and Tony, because you guys are both great at that. And I think that is why you guys are good with juniors, because juniors can see through the BS. And I think if you guys are like that and very direct with them, they attach to that. So speak into how you've learned that and maybe how you go about that with a lesson.
Well, that's kind of a little bit of the art of delivering a lesson. You got to learn to, you spend enough time around people, you kind of learn to read people a little bit. You can tell by body language or how they're acting, whether they're ready for some hard coaching or maybe they need a pat on the back sometimes, you know what I mean? But generally speaking, I have a lot of people that'll come and they have preconceived ideas what's wrong, and I've even had parents come and say, here's what I want you to teach my son today. Well, that usually doesn't work too good with me. So, that's when you have to kind of redefine the roles here. My job is to give the information to the student in the right order, that if the student can accomplish it, that will make them get better. My job is to know that information and then dole it out in the right order and coach it in the right order. Yeah. And the student's job is to take the coaching and do the practice exactly the way I tell them I want them to do it. Maybe slow, maybe looking in the mirror, maybe all the things that aren't real fun, but, we tell them to slow down for a reason, because we want them to learn it faster, right? Mm-hmm. And then, at that point, I'll turn right to the parents and I'll say to the dad or the mom or whoever the case may be, now your job is to get the student here on time, and always remember to bring the payment with that student. And then your job is to sit back and enjoy watching your son or daughter take a golf lesson and be a good mom or dad. Mm-hmm. My job is to give the information. So, just so we can all get our jobs description right, that, that kind of sets it off and gets everything kind of cleared up pretty quick. And, sometimes that goes over good. Sometimes it goes over like a lead balloon, but hey, at this point in time, it really doesn't matter, right? We've all taught a whole bunch of golf, and, we're not trying to make them worse. We're truly trying to give every student our best stuff and try to give it to them the easiest way possible for them to learn to do it and make themselves better golfers, right?
Yeah. So how many golf lessons do you think you've given in your life?
Oh, golly, I don't even know. I guess 86, what would that be? 14 years, and then 24 years would be 36 years full-time. It would have to be, 40,000 golf lessons plus however, golf school days. I don't even count those as lessons, where you go on the road and you teach, like we do, me and you and Tony. There'll be 10, 12 people, 14 people a day, and we just stand out there and teach all day long, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I don't even count that as golf lessons. Those are just fun days of teaching, with my best friends are the other teachers, and so it would be thousands and thousands and thousands of golf lessons. That's obviously awesome. At this point.
Then my next question for you is actually, what are the best questions to ask? What are the best questions you can ask a student, and what are the best questions a student can ask their coach when they're going to see them?
Oh, I think that's a good one there. I think the best question a student can ask should happen before they ever take a golf lesson. I think if you're looking around to try to find a good teacher or try to find, somebody to help make you better, I think the student has to first decide what they want out of the lesson. What are they looking for? And then they've got to go find someone who can give them that. And, I think one of the first things you should do is, there's a wealth of knowledge anymore. I think we can all type in everybody's name, and, within a couple minutes, you could figure out, what their resume looks like, who they've taught, what they've taught, how they've done, how long they've been doing it. And, we talk all the time that a student should definitely go to somebody who at some point in time has made someone really, really good. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. The teacher has a track record of making people better. Now, that doesn't mean that, nobody should ever go see a young student or a young teacher, excuse me. I don't mean that at all, but I do think they should seek out a young teacher who has been mentored by somebody who at some point has made someone really good. You've got to go somewhere where the information is good, and it's solid, and it will provide good results if the information is done correctly. So I think that's an extremely important question to ask. And I think during your first lesson, I think if you have if you're getting a lesson and people are saying, well, try this or try that, or, there's no rhyme or reason for any of the instruction that's being given, I think the student should run for the hills at that point, because there's, I've gotten to a point where I tell people what I want done. I want to get this done today, and I want to get that done today. And what you're going to see if you do this is you're going to quit hitting it way out to the right. You're going to quit hitting it fat when you miss it. You're going to start maybe hitting the ball a little bit lower, maybe starting the ball a little more on line. I'll go so far as to tell them what's going to happen to their ball flight if they start learning to do the new stuff. So, and that there tells them exactly that I have a plan and that I've done this before and that I know where I'm trying to take them, which helps them calm down and, take a better golf lesson.
Yeah. And what's the best question you can ask a student?
Well, I think it's important as a teacher. We all have, things that we want to get done in building a person's golf swing. I know I love to do that. I love the process of building a golf swing. Mm-hmm. But the first thing I ask my student is, how'd you get my name? I want to know where they found me from, just to get a little background. And that usually is coming from a person that I currently teach or somebody that I know. So I develop a little bit of a personal relationship with them through that question. Then the next thing I ask them is, what do you want out of this lesson? Mm-hmm. Well, generally speaking, they're all going to say, I really want to hit my driver further. and then I followed up with, well, that sounds fantastic. And I really want to help you do that. Get your 7-iron out and let's put a couple on film and let me go look at it real quick. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. But I remember what they're looking for. You got to give the client what they're looking for. So, at the end of that lesson, you better say 5 or 10 minutes and be able to pull a little bit of magic out of your hat and get them to hit that driver just a little bit better, because that's why they're there. Yes, right. Yeah. So I really try to provide what the student wants, while I'm still controlling how I want the lesson to be given, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And early on, you can shape those questions to ask them more about their game and actually help them maybe discover what it is that's causing issues with their scoring. Because it's funny how sometimes you can have a 5 handicap or a 25 handicap, and they may be in the dark about what is actually causing them to lose strokes. But, yeah, everybody always wants to hit it more consistent and further, don't they?
Sure, for sure. Yeah. But, I think if you give the client what they're there for, they'll tell you what they're there for. Mm-hmm. And, you have to be understanding about that, because hey, they're shelling out the money, right? It's not a cheap endeavor anymore. So I like to give them exactly what they're looking for, but all the while I like to control how I put a program together and how I do it. I definitely like to stay in control of that, for sure.
That's right. Drano, appreciate you sitting in for another segment with me. I promise This will not be the last one we have you on for. I've got a slew of questions in a notebook for you, but I think touching on these two things were great. I appreciate your time. And if somebody's looking for more info on Wayne Flint and how to get a golf lesson, how might they find you?
Well, I guess you could Google me. I'm at Highland Park Golf Course in Birmingham, Alabama. And, you know, my cell phone number, I think, is on their website, and you just get on Highland Park and type in Wayne Flint, and my cell phone's there, and they can give me a call or you know, I'm sure my internet address or email address is out there, and someone can shoot me an email and come see me at Highland Park. I'd certainly love to help anybody.
Promise you won't be disappointed if you do that. So thanks, Drano.
Jackson, I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite. Let's do it again. That's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero. And look, recently, several teachers I know and several players have had some scares with skin cancer. In fact, I recently went and saw a dermatologist here in town, and I had a couple things frozen off, eyelid, my face, my earlobe, and not getting any younger. And I know it's getting to that time of the season where it's cooler, but look, being in the sun is a real deal, and I've not been very good, to be totally honest, my whole career at using it at all, because I didn't like how greasy it was, how hard it was to get off your hands, how it clogged up my pores. And then I found this sunscreen, Visor Skin Care. It's clear, it goes on, it doesn't dry you out, it isn't greasy, it's like you didn't put anything on it. By far, it's the best sunscreen I've ever used. Without a doubt, is the easiest to use. And we've got a discount code for all of you. All you have to do is go to visorskincare.com, is use our code word DewSweeper. visorskincare.com, code word DewSweeper. I just want to remind everybody something that I forgot. Recently, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I went out. We went to a wedding, and afterwards with some friends, we were like, hey, where's a great place to go? I'll be honest, like, in my travels and day-to-day, sometimes I get caught up and I forget some of the great places right around the corner. But I got to remind you about the Icebox Bar on 755 Monroe Street. I was blown away by just the whole vibe, the atmosphere, and with the Velvet Pig, the food in the back room, and the big screen TVs up front. We sat there and watched some playoff games. I was blown away by the atmosphere, the vibe, and just how cool it was to have the Icebox Bar right here near the Dew Sweepers downtown, near where I live. If you're looking for a great place to go sit, watch some games, hang out, play some pool, you got to go to the Icebox Bar right there on Monroe Street. There's a good chance you'll see all of us hanging out. But do yourself a favor, go visit the Icebox. It's one of the best places out there.